Artificial intelligence. Two words that spark controversy between bubbling tech enthusiasts and fearful consumers. Will AI develop into a benevolent companion, or will it become a species-ending catastrophe? I don't know the answer. Those eventualities are just too far off in the future. But right now, we can talk about which work AI is stripping from voice professionals. Will AI ultimately replace singers? And how close are we to bringing Ronnie James Dio back from the dead? Welcome to The Singing Hole, where we examine how ordinary creatures create extraordinary sounds. Or today, how computers create extraordinary sounds that try to sound as extraordinary as humans. When we talk about a computer recreating a human voice, I like to think about it in three main categories. First, the speaking voice. Second, backing vocals, which are mostly sung vowels. And third, the lead vocal, complete with lyrics and dynamic expression. Let's dive into each of these categories and see what AI has done so far and what we might expect it to do next. At this point in time, most people on the planet have interacted with an AI voice assistant of some kind, whether it's Siri, Google Assistant, Alexa, or another type likely on your smartphone. It's incredible how advanced voice assistants are. But before we even talk about their actual vocal output, we have to note that advanced conversational AI is making use of several processes other than just voice synthesis. It uses speech recognition, machine learning, and natural language processing. And it has to decipher various dialects and jargon and select an appropriate response. Then, that response gets vocalized. In this video, we're just going to focus on that text-to-speech part, or the voice synthesis piece. How close can a computer get to sounding like a real person? When it comes to speech, AI can get freakishly close to sounding totally real. Google's duplex voice AI sounds so real, it was able to book an appointment for a haircut at a demo in 2018.
So how can I help you? Hi, I'm calling to book a women's haircut for a client. I'm looking for something on May 3rd. Sure, give me 1 second.
Sure, Siri and Alexa still have a hint of robot in them, but if you heard a voice on the radio that's made by syntheses.io, you might wonder who it is instead of what it is. Here's one example of a voice that was created by Syntheses.
It's without a doubt the most important revolution in the future of human communication and perception. It's analogous to the birth of the internet.
While perusing Syntheses' rather large voice library, I could still tell that many of the voices were AI and not human. Sometimes the intonation was off, or there were small artifacts in the sound. The speaking voice synthesis company that currently wows me more than any other is called play.ht. They have over 800 voices to choose from in 132 languages, which puts my 19 languages I've sung into total shame. You can also change the rate that the text is read at, shift the pitch or emphasis, remove or add pauses. The part that really gets me, though, is the voice cloning. That's right, cloning, like Star Wars or Dolly the Sheep, but for voice. You can create custom AI voices with a shockingly small amount of data. Just listen to these examples.
The great thing about play.ht is that you can clone your own voice or use existing high-quality voices. It is crazy good. You cannot tell if those are human voices or machine ones anymore.
The great thing about play.ht is that you can clone your own voice or use existing high-quality voices. It is crazy good. You cannot tell if these are human voices or machine ones anymore.
Those last samples could fool me. You'd think an iconic voice like that would take a long time to recreate, right? For context, Susan Bennett read 4 hours per day, 5 days per week for an entire month to generate enough data for Siri. That was 2005. Many of the sentences she read seemed to make no sense. AI has come a long way since then. I became the voice of an AI called Speak With Me in 2017, and that required around 20 finished hours of data, and those sentences did make sense. Today, if you want to clone a voice with play.ht, you can do it in as little as 30 seconds of data. That's ridiculous. 30 seconds of data? That's such a tiny sample size. To be fair, that probably wouldn't be the most realistic clone, so their website suggests using at least an hour of studio quality audio. I'm sorry, 1 hour? 1 hour of voice data? You can grab that from any podcast or talk show. You could clone my voice just by using audio from this channel. Does that freak me out? Yeah. To be honest, it does. It would be incredibly easy for someone to impersonate me, or impersonate someone much more important than me, like a political figure, and use that to spread misinformation. And that is terrifying. There's also the question of how AI will, not could, but will, put voiceover artists out of work. And while there still may be some dispute about whether Linza will put a visual artist out of work, there's really no dispute on whether or not AI will reduce VO jobs. That's the business model for companies like Syntheses and Play.ht. They aim to reduce costs for businesses that would hire lots of VO artists for things like educational videos and advertisements. I'm not here to argue the morality of the situation. I'm sure you all will do that just fine in the comments. However, I don't think that AI will ever completely replace the VO artist. I just don't see Budweiser hiring a voice clone for their 2025 Super Bowl commercial. And as much as I love Scarlett Johansson...
Hello, I'm here.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Samantha.
I think it's going to be a very long time before her voice has romantic relationships with 8,316 people simultaneously. That level of concurrent interaction and context-driven conversation requires much more processing power than we currently have available. All this said, overall, AI can replace voice in some cases already when it comes to speaking, and it's bound to improve and be able to replace humans more and more. But what about singing? Singing requires a greater range of pitch variation and dynamics. The vocal parts also tend to last longer than speech or be more sustained. There's a lot more variability, which makes it exponentially more difficult to copy. But that doesn't mean it hasn't been done. Hatsune Miku is one of the most well-known singing AIs out there. And she isn't just a voice. She's an adorable turquoise pigtailed virtual idol with more than 2.35 million subscribers on YouTube. 2.35 million. That's like twice as many as a charismatic voice. When just discussing Hatsune Miku's voice, though, it still sounds pretty robotic. That works for the particular style of music that she sings, which is very electronic, since the goal isn't to try to replicate a human's authentic sound. In my opinion, Dreamtronic's Synthesizer V has some of the most impressive singing voice synthesis out there. This Tokyo-based company does come close to sounding lifelike, and the voices can be customized to have different dynamics and even reflect different vocal registers, which kind of makes me nerd out, to be honest. Here's an example of one of their voices called Solaria.
I was following the eye, 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 was following the eye.
And even though it's good, it still isn't good enough to replace a live singer. And Dreamtronics knows that. This is why their marketing is different than the marketing we see with AI speech companies. Dreamtronics' website states, generate clean vocal tracks to nail any demo, and accelerate the prototyping stage of music creation, meaning that they intend their software to be used to help design a composition, but not be used as the final puzzle piece. However, there is software that's designed to be used as the final puzzle piece for certain types of vocals. Sample libraries and virtual instruments are tools that almost every modern composer uses. It's actually a little bit shocking to look at arguments for and against sample libraries and virtual instruments and compare them to arguments for and against AI today. Sample libraries and virtual instruments are made by collecting a large number of detailed recordings or samples from one performer. I worked with Impact Soundworks to create Charisma, a vocal virtual instrument that released last year. Here's an example of what Charisma sounds like in a song. Virtual instruments like Charisma are indeed meant to be used instead of hiring a singer. And I'm totally okay with people using this software instead of asking me to record oohs and ahs for every project. I think it's pretty awesome to hear what composers come up with when they can mess around with all of the recordings and phrases I made. It's almost like we're in the same room collaborating together, and that sparks a new and different kind of creativity. One big difference you'll notice, though, is that vocal virtual instruments and sample libraries usually focus on just a few vowel sounds. This makes for excellent backing vocals or ambiance, but it doesn't work well for a lead vocal with lyrics. The stuff besides the lyrics, though, the entire band's sound, the musicians, that is replicable. AI has created a song that mimics an entire band's sound. An organization in Toronto recently used Google's AI program, Magenta, to analyze Nirvana's style and works and compose a new song. The result is called Drowned in the Sun, but it should be noted that the only thing not created by the AI are the vocals, which are performed by Nirvana tribute band frontman Eric Hogan. While many fans were appalled that an AI would try to recreate Nirvana, others were enthusiastic. And many songwriters are enthusiastic too, even though AI could threaten some songwriters' jobs. On the flip side, AI could make it easier to compose and create music that sounds more refined on a cheaper budget. So in many ways, it could level the playing field for composers who have yet to make it big. There's even a competition to help encourage composers to improve their use of AI, called the AI Song Contest. MOGII7ED, a California-based team of musicians, scholars, and AI experts, won the 2021 competition with the track Listen to Your Body Choir, a song that sounds both human and machine-made. And I have to say, I genuinely enjoyed listening to that track and would listen to it many times again.
Listen to your body choir. What's your vibration? What's your vibration? Where are we? What's your vibration?
But does it reach the great vocal prowess of Pavarotti? Just imagining if AI could create something on par with great voices who are now dead fills me with a weird mixture of giddiness and concern. It would be amazing if Prince were still creating music. Like, whoa. But what if someone created an AI to mimic Dio and then called it a long-lost album, and we were all duped into believing Dio had made that music himself? But then I have to pause and consider, if I love the music and it moves people in glorious ways, if it isn't actually by Dio, but the results are the same and truly great, would it matter if it was actually made by an AI? There are all kinds of moral and legal questions raised by the thought that an AI could accurately mimic a famous singer. Questions which we need to consider and answer now. Because just last year, an AI did, quote, resurrect a famous singer. Anita Mui, considered the Asian Madonna, died in 2003, but last year, Tencent Music used AI to recreate her vocal handprint and generated a new song which received over 100 million plays. 100 million. That's 100 million plays that weren't given to a living human singer.
愿你永远不会受到伤害，你会值得所有的偏爱，你是生命中最好的安排，是最特别的存在。
But maybe that's okay. I honestly don't know if it's okay or not, and maybe we should consider the art of designing the AI that created this. Maybe computer scientists should be recognized as great artists as well. I personally think that many of the great artists of tomorrow will embrace new technology and become a combination of both performer and AI, like Holly Herndon. Holly, who holds a PhD from Stanford's Center for Computer Research in Music and Acoustics, started using vocal software to create her first album in 2012. She expanded that software with her second album, and in 2019, she released Proto, the world's first mainstream album made with AI. The AI in the album provides backing vocals and a chorus. Note, that's the backings again, not the lead. Fast forward to 3 years later, Holly debuted Holly Plus, an AI-powered instrument that lets people sing with her own voice. Holly Plus can also sing in languages that Holly has never learned, and in styles that Holly has never trained in. In the TED Talk that Holly gave last year, Holly Plus is used to create harmonies and backup vocals live with another singer, as if Holly were there herself and singing along. In that same TED Talk, Holly discusses why she wants to put her intellectual property out there.
Rather than limiting the use of my voice, I'm creating instruments to allow as many people as possible to create music with me and even as me. That's why I've made versions of Holly Plus freely available for anyone to use online. If I can allow people to play with my IP, my digital identity, my intellectual property, what might they come up with? Could someone else go on tour as me with my permission? Could I be in 1,000 different bands in multiple languages, and what would that even sound like?
This idea of using AI voices as a way to collaborate invigorates me. What if one day I could sing a duet with Maria Callas? What if you could create new music with your favorite 80s band? AI could give us the opportunity to speed up the creative curve, and it challenges us to imagine new possibilities. But I don't believe that AI will ever replace singing. Humans fundamentally need to create and express themselves, and the experience of singing oneself or in a choir or being a part of an audience interacting with a live band in real time, all of these experiences go beyond accuracy of vocal reproduction. I also don't know if an AI will ever be able to capture true soul and authenticity, or be able to spontaneously improvise with a group of musicians while staying in sync. If that does happen, I agree with some of our patrons that that would be the definition of the Turing test for an AI musician. But it won't be for a while. Will AI shake things up and make it difficult for some artists to earn a living? Heck yeah, it's already doing that. And we need to consider the ethical and legal implications. We're going to need a new framework for monitoring digital information and protecting artists. And we collectively need to discuss what kind of moral boundaries should be put in place, then work to put those in place now, because AI is no longer a thing of the future. It is here, it is replacing some voice jobs, and so far, we've only been reacting. I know, I sound like a bit of a doomsdayer right now, but I'm actually super excited to see where AI can go musically. I think it could be incredibly, incredibly awesome. Just imagine, while AI is recreating sounds from today and yesterday, what will we create tomorrow that rests on the shoulders of what an AI can do now? Instead of allowing AI to overwhelm our creativity, what can we do to use it to create more? I'd love to someday share the voice of my grandfather with my infant son, who never had the chance to meet him nor hear him shake the rafters with his tremendous sound. So, if 1 hour of recorded clips and some cash is all it takes to recreate him, then I'm in. I support the development of AI. Money will always be something that drives technology forward, and bringing someone back from the dead is priceless.